Hello everyone, welcome to Waterford Estate. My name is Jeremy Marskalk and I am going to be taking you through what your Waterford experience would be like if you were to join us for either lunch, a wine tasting, or as we've very carefully placed our Land Rover over there for one of our wine drive safaris or our Porcupine Trail walk. So you guys can follow me, let's go on in, take you through what you can expect when you kind of land up at our estate. You're going to drive down our beautiful driveway lined with clementine trees all to the left and the right, really fragrant on arrival, orange blossoms coming through. You've got our sea of lavender over here and our rosemary's bushes kind of on the sides. That there's really aromatic. It's a really warm entrance, a really warm feel into the estate. And from a situation point of view, as you guys can see, we are looking really Tuscan, really Italian in style. We have intentionally chosen that architecture. It's beautiful. It fits in with the landscape in the beautiful Blauklippen Valley on the Helderberg Mountain, one of the best places in the entire world to grow red wine varieties, in particular Cabernet Sauvignon, but we'll touch on that a little bit more later. So follow me, head up these stunning stairs. Everyone who visits our estate is greeted by one of our staff members. It's a really important part of our Waterford experience. You must feel welcome in our home, in our wine tasting venue. And we've got some of our tasting room staff over here, friendly faces. They'll greet you, show you guys around, take you through our tasting room experience. And let's actually take a little bit of a detour. You guys can follow me. This is just on the right-hand side as you walk in. We are looking at our reservations or our front desk area here. This is where a lot of our management staff will sort out anything that needs to be sorted out. We do our wines out of the front there. It's a really nice place if anyone needs anything or asks for any questions. You guys can always come here, but our staff, really knowledgeable. They will be able to handle everything at your table so you don't actually have to get up at all, which is really exciting. Let's do a U-turn, take a look at the magnificent walkway as you guys enter. We've got this lovely barrel arch over here. Don't fall in love with it. We don't know how much longer it's going to be here for. This was actually part of our family harvest party decor, but I think it's actually looking quite stunning. I think it might stay here for quite some time if you ask me. But these beautiful arches on the left and right kind of framing our stoep area here where you can do lunch and or wine tastings. Beautiful areas, lovely table decor. It's a really nice place to sit. Even in our winter months, we lower down the shutters here so you guys can still enjoy a wine tasting. We've got a lot of seating space for our winter months on top of that as well. So let's take a look in our courtyard. Really lovely Tuscan feel out here. Kind of everything encompassed and pointing towards our iconic fountain. Something that's really immortalizes our brand. You're seeing it on all of our wine labels. It's really a centerpiece, an iconic piece of our Waterford ethos, our brand, and something that every guest is pointed towards and something that you'll see immortalized in many people's holiday pictures and things like that. So walking through, looking on the left and the right, we've got lots and lots of seating for everyone. So we always have space, we always have open doors, smiling faces for you guys to enjoy wine tastings, wine and chocolate pairings. We've got some food and wine pairings, lunches. We start our wine drive and wine walk experiences here with some bubbles, and then all encapsulated around it is our winemaking process. So you're going to actually see where we're walking now to is our cellar. We've got our wine production area that we're first going to walk into. Either side we've got our barrel cellar, and then we've got our bottling lines. So guests are sitting inside the winemaking process. You get to actually have a look and see how we make our wines and what makes our wines so unique, even just by sitting in this courtyard. So yeah, follow me into the cellar. It's actually a really exciting time to come and view our tasting room. We're in the middle of harvest. We're bringing in grapes. Our kind of forte, our specialty is red wine varieties. Around this time of year, we're going to start seeing things like our Merlot, our Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon start to come in. Cabernet Sauvignon, obviously, as I mentioned before, one of our flag bearers on the farm. So something that's really important for us. We take a lot of care in presenting it, in maturing it, in crafting something that really is what we describe as fine wine. It's wine that when you sip it, you're transported to the place of its origin. We're hoping that when you drink the wine, you're brought right to the Helderberg Mountain, to the Blauklippen Valley. You're able to taste our terroir. So come on in, let's get a sneak peek at how we make our wines. There's a lot of things going on, so mind your footsteps, please don't slip. We've got our assistant winemaker Jamie up on the ladder over here, making sure that grapes come on in. We've got the destemmer running. We've got the destemmer running, pumping all our grapes after destemming for red wine varieties at least, straight into these fermentation tanks above us. So we do whole berry fermentation, and whole berry fermentation, it's a more gentle way of maturing or fermenting your wines. We stick the grapes whole up in these fermentation vessels, add the yeasts, the weight of the top berries bursts some of the bottom berries, we get a fluid forming, and then all the carbon dioxide from the fermentation process actually pushes a lot of the skins to the top. So that's a bit of an issue. If you're making white wine, you want your skin, or red wine rather, you need your skins to be in contact with the juice holistically throughout the vessel. So to make sure we get that right, this is the main reason why these vessels are up on the roof. We do something called pump overs. So they're going to be running about every 4 to 6 hours every single day. So either running them 4 times per day or 2 times per day, depending on the wine. What we'll do is we'll take the juice out, we use gravity off the bottom of the tank, pump it back on top of the skins, onto the top, pushing that skin layer back down to the bottom, and then letting the skins float all the way through again. So that way we get really even color, structure, tannin all throughout our wine in the 14 days that our red wines ferment for. Okay, you guys can follow me. These tanks down here on the bottom, these are our white wine fermentation tanks or storage tanks. Generally with white wine, you're not looking at any skin contact or anything like that. So what you are going to be doing is bringing the grapes and de-stemming. Sometimes you don't even have to de-stem. You just press the skins immediately, or the grapes immediately, stick them in these fermentation vessels for their fermentation process. We don't need a pump over or anything like that, so it's really just convenient to have them down here. And something I'm sure you're all noticing straight away on these tanks is this alternating steel pattern over here. So that's not done for artwork. This has actually got a really practical purpose to it. This section here is a cooling jacket. And what happens is we pump cold water around the outside of the vessel within the sleeve to cool our wines down. We try ferment our wines below 15 degrees Celsius. That limits something called malolactic fermentation, which is another reason why our wines are so fresh, fruit forward, and they don't have that rich kind of creamy characteristic to them. Okay, follow me. A little bit of a cellar nerding going on here. We do love our wines, we love our production. This is something you can expect from all our tasting room staff. The Waterford ethos is a lot of passion. We love what we do, we love what we make, we love the terroir, we love the entire brand. So what you're looking at over here as well, we call this the lab. This is where our winemakers kind of sit in and make big decisions about the farm, how we're going to blend our wines. We do tastings of different other wines to benchmark ourselves against what other regions throughout the entire world are actually making. So a really influential place. Not the neatest looking place, but definitely an influential place, a place of knowledge for wine as well. We're going to head out this way. We're about to enter our white wine barrel room. We call this the Chardonnay room. It's a real nice surprise for you guys to see the finer side of maturing wine. Follow me. So entering this room, oh, it's a little bit chilly. We've got to keep this room nicely temperature controlled. It's humidity controlled as well. And the smell, I wish you guys could smell this. It's actually a perfect time to come and view our cellar, our Chardonnay room. In particular, we've got barrels themselves fermenting. We barrel ferment our Chardonnay. It really is a well-known technique to making really high quality Chardonnay. So behind me, you're going to see a large troop of barrels over here. This is all French oak barrels. We import only French oak. We used to use American oak, but our winemaker at the time didn't enjoy the sweetness that it brings into wine. We prefer the restraint of French oak. Okay, and then on this side over here, you guys are going to notice these strange looking egg things. I promise you it's not Easter just yet, but these here are concrete eggs, imported as well. There's only a handful of wine farms that have these at the moment in South Africa, so they really are an exciting manner of maturing your wine, very different to what you get from oak. So when you're using an oak barrel, you're wanting to get that oaky quality going into your wine. You want that roundness, that creaminess that the barrel can give into the wine. When you're using something like concrete, it's a neutral vessel. So there is no oakiness, there is no vessel quality that goes from the vessel onto the wine. You're tasting exactly what the wine tastes like that you're putting inside this wine. And the benefit of this as opposed to stainless steel is that concrete breathes. It's really porous, so it lets a lot of air flow into it. So you're going to open up, you're going to develop those flavor profiles and those aroma profiles. So you see this one painted quite beautifully like an Easter egg. This was our first one that we purchased a good couple of years ago, just to see if this was something that we wanted to do in maturing our wine. We were buying in Chenin Blanc, putting it into this lovely concrete egg and putting it part of our library collection. Then it started to pick up in popularity, people started to love it. And then from there, we purchased the other 3 massive ones that you see behind it. And we started to put our old vine project, Shannon, into our Waterford portfolio. So a really exciting wine, a very clean wine, something that really displays the quality of grape that you're getting from an older vineyard. Okay, now we've got a bit of a different looking vessel over here. This here is a Foudrier. This is a 2,400 litre vessel, really nice and big. And the reason why a winemaker would use a vessel like this is that your bigger barrels have less surface contact between the wood and the wine, so less oakiness is going to go into your wine. So this is just a couple of the things that a winemaker can use to ensure that they're getting different qualities, the right kind of qualities that they're after in their wine, by changing the size of the vessel. Are you even using oak? The age of your wood also plays a big component in that. So all these aspects your winemaker has to know about and think about to craft something truly unique. Okay, you guys can follow me. And this here is the big reveal. So in this room, I'd say there's probably about 200 barrels worth of wine in here. You can do the math, you get about 300 bottles of wine per barrel. So somewhere above 60,000 bottles of wine are just lying in this room. This here is a little bit more. This is our masterpiece, the Cathedral. So what you're looking at in this room, the Cathedral, are 1,300 barrels, all full to the brim with red wine. You can see that straight away by the red line, the red strip down the middle of all our barrels. We hand paint that on. It's a natural dye that we make from the skins just to demarcate to us that these are red wine barrels. When your wine is maturing in barrel, every now and then you need to take the wine out. It's called the racking process. To take the wine out, you clean the inside of the barrel, and then you put the wine back in. We don't want someone to mistake this barrel for having white wine in it before and putting red or white wine in it, and then you'll end up spoiling 300 bottles worth of white wine. So this just pretty much foolproofs the process. Also, as our winemaker comes through and tastes all the wine out of our barrels, he does tend to spill down the sides. If I were to taste 1,300 barrels, I think I'd also spill a little bit. So this keeps it looking nice and pretty for guests that visit our estate. Then coming further into the architecture of this room, it really is quite stunning. It's blacked out windows, this face brick kind of walling that goes around us here, and this earthy smell. So originally, when the estate was founded, we were hoping to build an underground cellar. Those dreams kind of quickly went away as we realized we were built on table mounted sandstone. It is a really, really hard rock, brilliant for foundations, but really difficult to go underneath. So to give the effect of an underground cellar, we blacked out the windows, had this lovely face brick architecture going around, and then underneath each barrel section, we've got straight earth. There is no concrete underneath here. What you're smelling when you walk into this room is that wet soil, beautiful wine maturation aromas coming through, and that soil plays a couple of other added benefits into our winemaking process. So aside from the smell, it helps us maintain the moisture in this room. So humidity in your maturation process is really important. If your humidity drops below 75, going towards 70%, your wood barrels start to dry out. And then the barrel itself starts to suck wine in from the inside, and you pretty much lose a liter of volume. And on 1,300 barrels, that's almost 2,000 bottles of wine that we've lost out on. So we want to try and make a good wine, an amazing wine, but a good amount of wine for you guys to drink. So having the soil, if we wet it, it helps us maintain the moisture, the humidity in the room. We have the sprayers up on the side. They're also working really hard to make sure that we are keeping our barrels, our wine maturing at the correct temperature and humidity. Okay, let's take a quick walk through the cellar. It is a stunning walk coming down here. On barrels on either side, we've got labels so people will be able to see what is lying in each barrel. So it really is something that our winemaker is meticulous about, knowing what is going where. Barrel selection is incredibly important, knowing if we're using a third full, second full, first full barrel for which wine, depending on the vintage. It all plays a big part into the crafting of your wine. How is your wine going to come out? And it is a big waiting game. Winemakers put the wine into the barrels. 2 years later, you put it out to see if you've actually made something incredible. So experience comes into play here, knowledge, working with your team in the cellar so that you know what kind of wine you're trying to make. That is that camaraderie, that teamwork that really goes into crafting something truly unique. So we hope to see you soon on your next visit to Waterford Estate so you guys can come see firsthand the wonders of our beautiful property. Thank you so much.